show you how to do problem number 39 on the business calculus week 1 homework. So it says find the store's break-even point. So let's see. First, let's think about what break-even means. Break-even means that the cost equals the revenue, or you could also say that that is when the profit has reached 0. So first let's find the profit. Profit is equal to revenue minus cost, which means that profit equals revenue, which is for revenue I'll plug in negative 2x squared plus 900x. That's the revenue. And then minus cost. Cost is 400x plus 4800. So that's the profit. Next, let's distribute this negative sign. So that negative sign makes this become negative 400x, and a negative times a 4800 makes that negative 4800. So then that's the end of that problem. Now, the beginning of this problem, I can drop these parentheses because there's nothing in front of them, like that. So there we go, that's the profit. Now I want to combine like terms, so I have 900x minus 400x, which leaves us with 500x. Now I want to find out when the profit is 0 so that I can find the store's break-even points. So I'll set the profit equal to 0, like that. Next, I'll divide the entire equation on both sides by a number that goes into everything, which would be negative 2. So if I divide 0 by negative 2, I'll get 0 again. If I divide negative 2 by negative 2, it'll just go away, so that'll be gone. If I divide 500 by negative 2, I would get negative 250. If I divide negative 4800 divided by negative 2, that would be positive 2400. So that's the next equation after dividing the entire equation by negative 2. Then I need to try to factor it. So let's see. I need to find two numbers that multiply to make 2400. So let's see. I could try 1 times 2400, or I could do like this, 1 times 2400, or I could try 2 times 1200, or I could try let's see, 3 times 800, or I could try 4 times 600, or let's see, what are some other factors of 2400? I could try 8 times 300, or I could try, let's see, 10 times 240. Now I just realized something. 10 times 240 makes 2400, right? But 10 and 240 also add up to make 250. If I make them both negatives, they would add up to make negative 250. So I found two numbers, negative 10 and negative 240, which I can use as factors. So let me draw a line under this problem, and I'm going to show you the next stage of the problem. It would be 0 equals parentheses x minus 10 times x minus 240. Now let's carefully think about why that would work. Because remember, originally I had 10 times 240, which is 2400. Now, negative 10 times negative 240 multiplies to make positive 2400. And also negative 10 plus negative 240 adds up to make negative 250. Which means that these two numbers are the correct numbers to use to make factors that would factor out the original equation. So I can take this new equation and replace the entire problem with that. Then I can set each of those factors equal to 0 individually. So I would get a new equation, let me draw a line under it. That would be 0 equals x minus 10, and then another equation that would be 0 equals x minus 240. Then if I add 10 to both sides of this equation, then the next equation would be 10 equals x Then if I add 240 to this equation on both sides, it would be 240 equals x. So the answers are 10 and 240. Okay, now, that's how you get that first part of the problem. Now, just a second, let's go back a long way, because we're done with this part of the problem, and let's go back to talking about the profit. Profit, remember we calculated the profit was negative 2x squared plus 500x minus 4,800. Remember, that was the profit? So in class, we learned about the vertex formula to find the maximum or the minimum of a quadratic function. So in this case, this quadratic function is opening downwards because the leading term of it has a negative number in front of it. So if a parabola opens downwards, that means that the vertex of it is the maximum. So this means that we can find the maximum profit by finding the vertex. So remember, the vertex formula was equal to negative b over 2a. So we're going to plug in the numbers into that. So negative b over 2a equals negative b, which is, okay, b is 500, over 2 times a, which is 2 times a is negative 2. So it's 2 times negative 2. Then, let's see. What's 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. So it's negative 500 divided by negative 4. And negative 500 divided by negative 4 is a positive 125. So x equals 125. That's the value where the axis of symmetry is, or in other words, that's the x value where the maximum profit happens. So the maximum quantity x would be the sales, because it says the x is the number of sales. So they should sell x equals 125 machines per day in order to find the maximum profit. Then you have to find what the maximum profit is. So you take this 125 that we just found, and let me copy that 125, and you plug it back in to the profit. So right here where the x is, you plug in 125. Right there where that x is, you plug in 125. And then I'm going to take that entire thing, put it into Google, and let's just see here. Negative 2 times 125 squared plus 500 times 125 minus 4,800 equals like this. So negative 2 times 125 squared plus 500 times 125 minus 4,800, that's 26,450. So then that's how I got that. I hope this helps.